Hi there, this is Michael, and I'll be talking on why proxy servers are used. There are several reasons why we may want to employ a proxy server, and these are just a few of them. Number one on our list is improved corporate and institutional security. We are well aware that data breach is costly, both in terms of monetary loss and public image. Proxy servers add an additional layer of security between your servers and the outside traffic, hence reduces the chance of a breach. Because proxy servers can face the internet and relay requests from computers outside the network, they act as a buffer. While hackers may have access to your proxy, they will have trouble reaching the actual server running the web software where your data is stored. That said, using a proxy server does not make you hack-proof, but makes it just a little difficult. Number two is carry out sensitive tasks anonymously. Proxies are best known for the ability to anonymize web traffic. Hence, reporters, whistleblowers, and security officers count on the added identity protection offered by proxy servers to protect themselves, sources, their companies, clients, and partners. Any sensitive tasks completed over the internet are more secure when first anonymized through a proxy. Now, our third point is balance traffic so your server doesn't crash. Nothing annoys a customer faster than a company's website going down when they need it. Essentially, your website data and content is stored across many servers around the world in the cloud, and peering helps your network handle greater traffic. Of course, you can't ask a customer to try a bunch of ISPs to reach that content. A proxy server instead is used to create a single web address to serve as the access point. The proxy server will also balance the requests to each server so none overloads. And all of this works in the background to ensure a seamless customer experience on your website. Point 4 is control employee internet usage. No company wants employees accessing unsecured or inappropriate websites on company networks. That's why many internal networks are run on a proxy server. When a network is accessed through a proxy server, network administrators can control which devices have access to the network and which sites those devices can visit. You can block undesirable content as well as any site you don't want employee using on company time. Network administrators can even record what content is being accessed and when for internal purposes. Security officers use this to monitor for potential illegal activity or security breaches. Our fifth point is faster speeds and bandwidth savings. Due to all the extra work accomplished in the background by proxy servers, most people assume they slow down the internet speeds. This isn't always true. Proxy servers can easily be used to increase speed and save bandwidth on a network by compressing traffic, caching files and web pages accessed by multiple users, and striping ads from websites. This frees up precious bandwidth on busy networks, so your team can access the internet quickly and easily. I hope this has shed some light on why proxy servers are used. Thank you.
Good evening, CIT 270. Today we're going to be viewing a few different proxy servers that will work for an organization. I decided to start with TunnelBear. TunnelBear is a good little service which has one particularly really nice feature, that is the no logging feature. A lot of VPNs out there don't offer this, which means that they could be keeping your data and selling it on the side to skim some extra money off, or just giving it to advertisers or doing who knows what with it. So, and here you can see their Teams features that offers it to organization. The graphical user interface is also really nice. I've actually featured this same service in a previous video. Another good one is Viper VPN. This one is intriguing because of one particular feature, namely this chameleon feature. I can't say I've ever seen a VPN that offered a service that specifically bypasses firewalls and other blockers designed to block your VPN. And I know of a few different websites that will block you just because you're on a VPN. However, this website does not offer to not log your data, and I looked it up specifically because of this chameleon feature. It'll keep your data, a log of your data for about 30 days or so before dumping it. But just because of this chameleon feature, I almost think that it's worth it. There are a few other features here too that you can see that are pretty nice. The world's fastest VPN right there. I don't know if that's a stretch or not, but I'm sure they're quite speedy. And if you're interested in the business aspect, here it is right here. You can see a few of those features there. Another one is HMA. I actually included this one specifically to not recommend, just because I see it advertised all over the place. In terms of features offered, they're not great. The one thing they have that stands out is servers in over 190 plus countries. But I can't say I've ever had a VPN go bad because of a shortage of servers. That's just nothing I've ever encountered. And I looked, they keep logs of your data for a good 2 to 3 months. And it's just not great. But if you really like that massive surplus of servers, they do have a business offering for it right here. You could look through that if you're interested in it. And finally, this isn't really for an organization per se, but if you're interested in just a free proxy service, there are a few websites out there that will have an active list of IPs that are ready for you to hook into. And this is because it's free, of course, you're doing this manually. There's not a widget or an app that comes with any of it for you to hook into. And that is a few proxy servers that are available for organizations. Have a good night.
Okay, hi. I am Brian Kuhn, and I'm going to talk about the SQUID proxy server and how proxy servers work. SQUID is a Unix Linux-based proxy server. It is open source software that is free to use. It primarily is used for HTTP and FTP, but it also supports other formats such as TLS, SSL, and HTTPS. It is used by many internet service providers and websites to help increase the traffic flow on the internet. It runs on most operating systems such as Windows, Mac OS X, Linux, BSD, and Unix. It is also one of the most popular open source proxy servers that's available out there. The SQUID proxy server is designed for internet traffic. It reduces server loads through content caching. Frequently used data is stored and served locally. When this happens, it optimizes the data between the server and the client. This reduces response times and internet bandwidth usage by reusing web pages and content that is frequently requested from the internet. This makes web requests faster by not requesting the same content from out on the internet servers every time a client requests something. SQUID works by tracking objects' use over the network. SQUID will initially act as a man in the middle at first, simply passing the client's request for web content through the SQUID server and saving a copy of the requested object on the server. If the same client or another client requests the same object before it expires from the SQUID's cache, SQUID can then immediately serve it back to the client, accelerating the download time for the client and saving internet bandwidth. SQUID stores these files in the Unix file system format. And here is a little example of how it works. Right here would be a SQUID proxy server. So say you have this client down here that requests a website for the first time. So it gets sent over here to the SQUID proxy server. The proxy server says, hey, we don't have this information in our cache, so it sends it out onto the internet. So it goes where it needs to out on the internet, retrieves that information, comes back in here, and when it comes in here, it caches that information and sends it back to the client that originally asked for the information. Say a few minutes later, another client, separate client, or even the same client even, can request the same information again. So it goes over here and the SQUID proxy server will say, hey, I have this information in my cache. So instead of going out on the internet over here, it can send it right back to the client that requested it. This saves the time to go out on the internet and come back, and it also saves the bandwidth going out on the internet over here. So that's just what a proxy server does, and that's how the SQUID works. Thank you.
Okay, I am now going to demonstrate the whitelisting capabilities of SQUID proxy. This particular version of SQUID is SQUID 3 running on an Ubuntu VM local to my computer. So I've configured and set it up, so let's go ahead and start it. Make sure it's up. Okay, and then we can check its status to see if there's any errors. It's up and running. It's up and running. Okay. So for this particular installation, I made a few configuration changes. I'm going to show you 3 of them here. There's a couple other ones that I won't go into. I basically set it to the default port of 3128 over HTTP and direct access, as well as creating an access control list that's a whitelist that allows any domain inside of this file as I've defined it. And then I say, okay, anything can access this over HTTP that's on this list. There's a few other config changes I made, like changing the error response, which will basically, instead of show you an error page, it'll just drop, it won't even respond, so it'll say error connection. So let's go ahead, we got SQUID running. Let's go ahead and pipe in the information here. We have the port and we have the IP of the VM. And it's always good to check. And right here we have the IP address of the VM. I'm able to hit it. I've already tested this. And so I set the proxy configuration and I hit OK. And then we have SQUID is up and running. And so let's first test what's in the whitelist that I have whitelisted here. I have anything on Google's domain, any vhosts on Google domain, any vhosts on DuckDuckGo, any vhosts on LDS.org, or you can call it a subdomain. And so these are the only 3 sites that I'll be able to access. Anything else should be blocked. So let's go ahead and test this out after so Google, I can hit Google, the page is already loaded. DuckDuckGo can load. Let's see, LDS.org will load. Okay, so anything other than this will get dropped at the SQUID server. Usually a page will say it come up with a SQUID logo and everything, but I made it so that it just drops it, so the end users don't even know that there's a SQUID proxy. So for example, yahoo.com, unable to connect, can't connect. That's exactly what we want. Amazon as well, no shopping on this network. Netflix blocked as well. So I've just demonstrated the whitelist, and then anything else that I go to is blocked. That is essentially how SQUID works. There's a lot you can do to configure it, and some of the beneficial things you can do with this in an organization is you could have a transparent proxy like this set up somewhere, and just block, a few domains here and there, or in this case, a whitelist, allow only certain domains. Adds to security, and it's a pretty highly configurable product, and I recommend you guys give it a shot. Spin it up on a VM and configure it on Linux. And that is SQUID.